So question number 14, we want to know where this line here intersects a circle with radius 6 that's centered at 0, 2. So how do we start this? We draw a picture. So given information, we have this line. So again, this is 5.1, number 14. And the line is y equals 1.5x plus 2. And then we have a circle with a radius of 6 and a center of 0, 2. So just for fun, the equation of that would have to be x minus 0, which is just x squared, plus y minus 2 squared equals 6 squared, or 36. Right, so from our standard form of a circle, we get that. And I think it's going to be beneficial to sketch this. And you could just whip out a graphing utility, but it's not the same as writing it yourself on paper. So again, please, 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 please draw pictures often in this class. So let's see, we want to go 0 for x and 1, 2 for y. And that is going to be the center of my circle. And it has a radius of 6. So let's count out some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's going to be a point on the circle up here. And then going the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I probably should whip out some graph paper, but I'm going to do this for fun. And then each direction from horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be a point out there. And the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's 4 points on my circle. I'm going to do my best to sketch that. Something like this. Not bad, better than my last circle, huh? And let's label a few things. So that's 2. This would be -6. This would be +6. Down here I have -4. And up here I have 2 plus 6, or 8. Y-axis, x-axis. Next, the line 1.5x plus 2. And instead of viewing that as 1.5, I'm going to call that 3/2. So I can better plot some points. So starting here, I want to go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. So I have a point there. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. So about there. From here down 3 over 2 and down 3 again over 2 should be about there. So let's see, did I do an okay job? Not too bad. Those points kind of sort of line up. If you're drawing a line and your points don't quite line up, just make them bigger. So here is my line. And I can see there's a point here, and I believe I was asked for the first quadrant, right? At what point in the first quadrant? All righty, so first quadrant tells me x and y are both positive, and we're going to do a lot with quadrants in this class. So we want to pay attention to that. So a reminder for quadrants, this sucker over here is the first quadrant. We go around counterclockwise, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. All right, so I need to solve this right here. So that means I have to take these two equations and put them together. This one right here, the line tells me that y is the same thing, equal to, right, 1.5x plus 2. So that means over here in this equation, I can just replace y with 1.5x plus 2. So let's do it. Solve by substitution. I mentioned in the last class the key to survival of calculus is being good at algebra, so please practice algebra every chance you get. So x squared plus parentheses, And I'm going to put in my 1.5x plus 2, right? That's instead of my y up there. And then we have the minus 2 that was hanging out next to the y. Squared equals 36. Cool thing about this equation right here is all I have is x's. Plus 2 minus 2 is 0. 1.5x is now squared. And then we have to square 1.5, calculator if necessary. On a good day, that's 2.25. I'm going to double check that I'm right there. Calculator. And you noticed earlier I was using Google as my calculator. And if you prefer something like Desmos or GeoGebra, that's cool too. Come on. There we go. So 1.5 squared. Yep, 2.25. So I'm having a good day. All right, so we have 1x squared, we have 2.25x squared. So altogether we must have 3.25x squareds. Equals 36. Divide by 3.25. And I'm not worried about the decimals in here because it said I didn't need an exact answer, just approximate. So then x has to be plus or minus the square root of 36 over 3.25. And yes, we could clean this up quite a bit. You know, we could take the square root of 36. We could mess around with 3.25. But the problem just asked for an approximation, right? Let's double check that. Let's move zoom out of the way for a sec. Yeah, 3 decimal places. So we're going to continue with this. So now I want to know what's the square root of 36 over 3.25. Oops, I missed a decimal. There we go. Close parentheses. Always watch your parentheses carefully. Looks like I typed that right. And 3 decimal places, I get 3.328 for x. I haven't completed the question because I wanted a y too. So 3.328. Now, warning as you move forward, I need to calculate y, and I am not going to use the 3.328 to find y because now I'm introducing rounding error into the rest of my calculation. So I'm going to continue with this value right here on the square root when I find my y, and my calculator is prepared to help me do that because it has that value in there. So I'm going to choose a different calculator to help with that, I think. Let's see. Oh, this one has the previous answer button, which is cool, but I'll show it on another one in a second. So my calculator is going to remember that that's the previous answer. So I just want to take 1.5 times that previous answer. Now, technically that is rounded at this point, but look at all those decimal places. Holy moly. So 1.5 times that x value, and then what was it? Plus 2. So my y value should be 6.992. I just check that on another calculator for fun. Let's try Desmos, which is popular. And I think I'll use the graphing version because there's another way that this can help me out. So I believe that x here is equal to the square root, which you can either type SQRT, or you can bring up the little keyboard here if you're on your computer and grab the square root symbol of 36 over 3.25. And there's my 3.328 x value. Now to get my y value, I can just use that previous x value, since notice I called it x equals up here, which is kind of convenient. So now I can just say, hey, what's 1.5 times that x value up there? Ooh, it's not going to like that, is it? Plus 2. I guess I shouldn't have called it x. So if you want to reuse it, let's see. It won't let me use that directly, will it? No, I'm thinking of GeoGebra. That's okay. We'll give it a different name. The problem is x, it's reserving for graphing. So I have to just simply call it a, maybe. A equals that. So now down here, I can go 1.5 times a, and then add the 2. And then it gives me that same 6.992. We take it a step farther to check it by graphing each of these. Y equals 1.5x plus 2. And we know the equation of the circle, which was x squared plus parentheses y minus 2, I believe, squared equals 36. And then I should be able to click on that point and see it is 3.328, 6.992. And you might be wondering, well, why the hell didn't we just do this in the first place to answer this question? The reason is, if you really want to survive calculus in this class, you need to know how to write down all of this to justify that you can solve the problem without a computer and check it with a computer. So if you're just doing your homework with a calculator, you're not learning as much as you can in this class, and your future in math is going to be sketchy. So please don't have a sketchy future, have a good future and write stuff down and check with a calculator. So I do have an answer here. Y is approximately 6.992. Is that the right one? Yep. Okay. Got myself an answer, checked it on the computer. I feel good about it. Let's move on.